Good evening. What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Happy Thanksgiving week to all us in the U.S. Hope you guys are having a great start to the week. Hope you guys had a beautiful weekend. Had a lot of fun with all of you on the Super Saturday. It was great. I think that Brian Heflin and Gabrielle Merrill did an incredible job. Those testimonials were amazing. We're going to get that broken up, I think, into a couple pieces and put into the back office in two separate pieces. One is getting started and one is opportunity. So there'll be two up there for you to be able to access. But it's good to see all of you. Make sure you send out a message. Let people know. I know it's the holiday week. I'm sure it might be a little bit lighter of a call this week. But send out a message. Put them in the chat. Let people know that we are live. I'll drop a little something in the chats as well. You know, mine as well. Just to say, hey. There it is. Dream on. I was just watching a TikTok with Steven Tyler and Slash from some award ceremony somewhere, and it's got that Dream On song just stuck in my head right now. Not a bad song to have stuck in your head, but all right, send this out. Boom. Those are all out. See, people are starting to get on here. What's going on, Ruth? How are you, dear? Tammy, good to see you. Good to see you, Linda. What's going on, Pia? Hey. Eric Jordan. Hopefully you're feeling better. You feeling good? Man, that girl, I'll tell you what, I've gotten a couple fun recipe ideas from Erica Jordan's Reels, and I haven't told her yet because my family's been obsessed with them, but this is how I'm telling her now. She makes some awesome little recipes via her little Reels. What's going on, Elizabeth? Good to see you. Peter Sterling, I need to talk to you sometime this week, brother. I miss you and Carmela. We got to chat sometime soon. I got to hear how PJ's doing. I got to hear all of my Minnesota peeps are doing. Lori Anderson, what's going on, sister? How are you? Tamara, good to see you. Michelle, good to see you. See Melissa P's in the house. Me and Melissa had an awesome chat today. We got all sorts of fun folks coming in here. But again, we're going to get started in just about a minute. We'll let some people hop on. I've got a fun 2.5 pages of notes from chapter 4 of the compound effect. And my house might be a little crazy right now because we just had our oldest just walked in the door with her boyfriend from college for Thanksgiving break. So the house is excited that she is home, as am I. It's always good when she's home. It's always it's great when all the kids get back, right? It just feels good. So getting started in a minute. Again, chapter 4, not chapter 5. I put chapter 4. I put down chapter 5 in my notes. Chapter 4, momentum. Chapter 4, the compound effect. Momentum. Put a 5 in the comments if you'd like to be in momentum. What's going on? Good to see you, Carrie. Thanks for being on here. Put a 5 if you'd like to be in momentum. Do me a favor and put a 3 in the comments if you've ever been in momentum before. If you've ever been in momentum before, put a 3 in the comments. You know what it feels like. You know what it feels like, Susan. You know what it feels like, Michelle. You know what it feels like. Marlene, how are you, dear? It's good to see you on here. Oh, I love it when all you fun folks turn your cameras on so I can say hey to everyone. It just makes it so much more fun. But, all right, chapter 4, momentum. The big mo, as Darren Hardy calls it in the compound effect, the big mo. We're all chasing after the big mo. And he's elusive sometimes, but when he shows up, it's a party. It's a party for sure. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Momentum, how to get into momentum, what that feels like, what that looks like. I talked about this first little analogy that I got from this chapter on the masterclass that I did a couple weeks back, but I think it's great to start with it again, just as a reiteration. And this is something This call, I mean, I don't know if you like to take notes, there's going to be some fun stuff to take notes on. I found some really good, valuable stuff in here that I think would be worth remembering. So if you've got the ability to take some notes, take some notes. But he starts this chapter of momentum talking about that merry-go-round analogy that I talked about on that masterclass. And I love that analogy because the more I think about it, the more it just, me and Melissa were talking about it earlier today, it's like, it just fits so well. If you can picture a merry-go-round, if you can picture that merry-go-round as a kid, and what I want you to picture is a bunch of people on the merry-go-round. And I want you to picture them like your team. And when you start to push and you start to run, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of energy to get that thing up and moving. And when it's not moving, when it's standing still, what can people do very easily? They can get off real easy. It's almost enticing to get off. It's not really fun to sit on a merry-go-round that's not going in circles. It's just a table. So at the end of the day, once you get that merry-go-round up and moving, what do you know? To get it up and moving, especially with a lot of people on there, it takes a lot of energy. We're going to talk about this a couple different times in a couple different analogies, but it takes a lot of energy. My hope is that one of these are going to strike a chord with you and it's going to hit home. But the really beautiful thing about what you get that thing going, once it's moving and it's grooving and it's spinning like crazy, number one, it's incredibly hard for someone to come and try and jump on, for someone to try and stop it. If someone tries to come up and stop a merry-go-round with 20 people on it, they're going to end up with a broken wrist. Those are your haters. Those are all the little poachers, all the crows coming in to try and pick them apart. Can't get them when you're moving fast. Same thing goes for people wanting to get off. No one wants to get off a merry-go-round that's going in circles because it's fun. You're having a good time. Everyone's laughing. Until you throw up and you got to get off. But that's where the analogy stops. Don't take it too far. Don't be literal with it. Come on now. What's going on, Brian Heflin in Puerto Rico? It's good to see you, brother. But he talks about building up to it. He talks about building up to momentum. And momentum has 5 stages. He says to build up to momentum, it takes 5 stages. 5 stages of growth to get up to momentum. Number 1, you need to make new choices. You need to be willing to make new choices. Are you willing to make the new choices? Number 2, you got to put those choices to work. Just like taking notes right now, these notes will do nothing if they are not put into action. If they are not made applicable, if they're not made to do something. So putting those choices to work. Number 3, repeating new habits. Repeating these habits. Number 4, building routines and rhythms around these habits. So again, number 1, making new choices. Number 2, putting those choices to work. Number 3, repeating those in the creation of new habits. Number 4, building routines and rhythms around those new habits. And number 5 is staying consistent. Staying consistent. I didn't know this until I read this book. Did you guys know how close? Do you guys know really how close we were to not having this? To not having the iPhone? You guys understand the iPhone didn't come by itself. It was a future iteration of a previous generation of something. What was it? All of you guys know what it was. What came before the iPhone? What did Apple make right before the iPhone? What did they make? Close. Not an iPad. Close. iPod. There you go. The iPod. The iPod. Suzanne was screaming into this. She's like, take me off mute. I can't type right now because I'm eating, but dang it. I know the answer to this. iPod. Let's talk about the iPod for a second. When it was released, do you guys know that it was not an immediate success? The year that it was released, Apple went from releasing, I believe they had 15% or something like that growth the previous month to 20% loss that year they launched the iPod. The following year, they had like an 8% loss on the year with the iPod. And they said, they knew. So they kept and they stayed consistent. They stayed consistent. They pushed forward. It took till year 3 for them just to break even. Barely profitable in year 3 after launching the iPod. Year 4, they were up about, I think it was like 8 or 10%. Year 5, it was, I think they said like 25, 30%. And then all of a sudden, explosion, momentum takes over, and their entire lives, the entire world changes because of the adoption of this technology. It was not overnight. And that led to us having the iPhone. All of the most beautiful things, all of the things that we use every single day in our life, they would not be here had the creators of them had not gone through insurmountable obstacles and stayed consistent in the pursuit of. And now I know this sounds big. You guys were talking about an iPhone, something that you're like, I'm not going to invent the iPhone. But I want you to think for a minute. The value that this brings to someone's life, you have the ability to bring to someone's life. And you might not bring it to 8 billion people's lives, but to bring it to one is pretty flippin' special. To bring it to just one, to change their life, for them to be able to look at their life and see the rest of their life looking differently. To see them have different options and be able to think bigger, different thoughts for the first time in their whole lives. Because you had the courage to stay consistent. The iPod wasn't successful, nor was it made a hit overnight. In this chapter, he talks a lot about routine. A routine is something you do every day. And what I'm here to tell you is without a routine in your business, success is, and I don't want to say this in a harsh way, but success is really impossible without a routine. Long-term success. Now, this is the mistake, is people think that a routine means that I have to do a crazy amount of stuff every single day. That is not the case. He goes into a chapter called Bookend Your Days, and I love, love, love this piece. Bookending your days. Write this down. You cannot control what happens throughout your day, but you can always control how your day starts and how your day ends. You cannot control what happens throughout your day, but you can always control how your day starts, and you can always control how your day ends. That one hit me because I thought that was great. How often do we allow the stress of what's going to come in the day to bring down that morning routine and get your morning into chaos? How often is your evening routine consistently filled with the stress of the day? Bookending your days. I was like, man, this is so strong. He talks about starting your day positively. And everyone has a routine for this. And I think that it's really totally up to you what your morning routine looks like or what your day starts off looking like. But I wrote this quote down. The world responds to you very differently when you start your day with a feeling of gratitude for which you already have. The world responds to you very differently when you start your day with a feeling of gratitude for which you already have. You need to find what your routine looks like for you. But for him, what he talked about that I thought was beautiful is every morning he has his alarm set. And when his alarm goes off, he hits the snooze button, not to go back to sleep, but to give him 8 minutes of conscious gratitude in his bed while he's laying there peacefully, to fill his heart, to fill his mind with gratitude before, and then when his alarm goes off again, that's get up time. So it's not like I'm snoozing to go back to sleep to see if I can get back into that dream. I'm hitting snooze and I'm using that 8 minutes to sit and think of everything that I have right now that I am grateful for, because the world will respond very differently when you do. He then talks about taking the time. He sends a mental love letter every day when he starts his day. I thought that was an equally beautiful thing to do. Everyone on this call, do this right now. Everyone right now, send a mental love letter to someone in your life. Right now. Think of someone that you might not have talked to for a little bit and think of what you would say to them if you could share your heart with them right now. Share it right now. A mental love letter. I'm sending one to my brother right now. Miss him. I'm proud of him. Grateful for him. Can't wait to watch him get married next year. So freaking proud of all that he has done. Honored to be a part of his life. Now take a deep breath and just tell yourself, like, ask yourself how you feel after sending like that little mental love letter. It just little things to build into your routine. It takes 30 seconds. He talks about identifying 1 to 3 MVPs every single day. 1 to 3 MVPs, not most valuable people, but most valuable priorities. Identifying 1 to 3 MVPs every single day. What are your most valuable priorities in that day? And then with the waiter analogy, he talks a lot about cashing out at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you cash out. Put a 5 in the comments if you've ever been a waiter or a waitress before. If you've ever served tables. I put 1,000,000 5s. I served a lot of tables in my life. I've rolled a lot of silverware. I've done it all. Done it all, y'all. It's fun, right? I think it should be mandatory for everyone to work in the service industry personally at one point in their life. That's just my take. All of our children, I will make it a requirement that they all work in a service industry job, because you will never treat a person in a service industry with disrespect or poorly ever again once you do those jobs. And I was so honored to do what I did. I loved it. It was some of the best days of my life. But this cash out, for all of you waiters and waitresses out there, you remember the cash out at the end of the night? Remember what you got to do? You print out that mile-long slip of all your tables and all your stuff, and you have to go take it over with your bag of cash and all your receipts, and you got to make sure it all adds up, right? You got to make sure it all evens up. Yeah, you got to tip out your bartenders, you got to tip out your bussers, you got to tip out your hosts and your hostess. But at the end of the day, you got to cash out. You got to make sure you're evened up. Make sure everything evens up so that you can give it to the manager and they let you go home. If there's a penny off, they'll make you go back and run the report again, figure it out. He talks about cashing out in the aspect of how did you level up your daily plan? At the end of the day, he talks about sitting down and asking himself what needs to be moved to tomorrow, what can be scratched off for today, and doing a mental cash out of your day's activities. Now, this is the hard part for a lot of people, because in the pursuit of new habits, you will what? You're going to fall a lot. You're going to stumble. You're going to have setbacks. Life is going to get in the way. And in the pursuit, when those things happen, it's really hard to cash out at the end of the night. It's hard to do the cash out when you knew what you wanted to do and something else got in the way, to have the honest cash out. But it's very important to do. I think it only levels us up to be able to say, what can we do better tomorrow? And to have that conversation with ourselves on a daily basis. Talks about getting into a rhythm. Makes a couple marriage analogies that I think are beautiful. But the one that we all know is very true. Falling in love is easy. It's easy to fall in love with something or someone. To stay in love, to stay when it's not easy, to stay consistent when it's not fun, to stay in love, that's the magic part. That's the magic sauce. If I asked Erica Jordan how easy it was to fall in love with her husband, I'll bet it she would say is the easiest thing she's ever done in her whole life. She spent time around him, fell in love with him. But if I asked her how easy it was to stay in love over the course of their marriage together, and she was, they're a happily married couple. They got a beautiful family. But I would have mentioned both of them would say, we've had to work at it. We've had to work together. I think any married couple, me and Jennifer can say the same. We've had to work at it. Yes, 16 years, lots of work and communication. That's the magic. Seeing Erica and her husband going out on date nights and fun stuff like that, still 16 years later, that's the magic. That's when you know that you're still putting in the work. The consistency. I'm not going to talk about this a lot, but he talks about registering your rhythm, tracking it. 31 years of roller coaster ride, loving every minute, Michelle. Exactly. See, I cannot wait to get there, to be at that phase. Congratulations to you. And it's, these are the things we look forward to, right? Talks about tracking your progress. This is very important. You guys know this. We talk about it every week. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it right now, but I do want to make sure that we are always registering your rhythm. Keeping track of what's going on in your life. And this is what I want to spend a minute on, because this part this piece on the rhythm of life, this chapter, the rhythm of life, hit me hard. We talk a lot about blitzes, right? We talk about like, go, talk to 3 a day, talk to all this fun stuff. And I get it. I get the excitement. I get the energy. I get all of that. But what if we scaled it back dramatically? And yes, we pushed it towards greatness if that was our pursuit and all that. But sometimes I feel like for a lot of us, that can be very overwhelming when someone tells you to go talk to 3 people every single day. You're like, whoa. Like, I can do that today if I feel good. I can make 0 promises for tomorrow. I'll tell you when I wake up. It's like, to build that muscle is so foreign. It's like, whoa. Are you going to do them all with me? Like, wait, what? I can get it. I understand it. But what he talks about in the rhythms of life is, what can you do every day for the rest of your life? Think about that when you're building your business. Because if you can't do it every day for the rest of your life, then it's not something that's going to stick. How many people on January 1st go, I'm going to the gym 2 a days, I'm going morning, I'm going night, I'm doing it 2 hours a day? Guaranteed within 90 days, they're done. Because you can't keep up. Going cold turkey, never going to the gym to 2 hours a day is unrealistic. It is not part of the rhythm of your life. It's unrealistic to say you're going to be able to go to the gym every single day. Life's going to get in the way. Things are going to happen. So I want to talk a little bit about that. What could you do every day for the rest of your life? Now, maybe you couldn't talk to 3 people every day for the rest of your life. Maybe that seems overwhelming right now. I'll tell you right now, you can. You most definitely can. But maybe right now you feel like you can, and that's totally okay. You don't need to feel any other way than how you feel. Not because I tell you to feel some way or someone else tells you to feel some way. You are allowed to feel how you feel. The goal of all of this is to say, if I'm in pursuit of that, where do I start to build the muscle to get a little bit stronger every day? So while I might not be able to talk to 3 people every day, you know what I could do? Is I could commit to making one person in my life's day better every single day for the rest of my life. I can commit to that. I can commit to every single day of my life going forward. I will look to make one human being's day better. Every day. Without fail. I don't care if I stay in my house all day. I will find a way every single day. Once that habit gets strong, you can compound upon it. Because fun and positive habits are equally as addicting as negative habits. It just takes a longer time. Negative habits have an immediate reaction a lot of the time, immediate source of reward. Positive ones take a little bit longer sometimes for you to feel it, for you to see it. But if we make one commitment, whatever it is for you, that you say, you know what, I can do that every day for the rest of my life. It's like brushing your teeth. It's like showering. It's like whatever. It's eating food. It's drinking water. It's what can you add into your business that you could do every single day? I think far too often we think about the next 30, 60, 90 days of our life and what can we do in that period of time, and we think far too little about what can we do for the rest of our life. Because that 30, 60, 90 turns into another 30, 60, 90, turns into another 30, 60, 90, and then you're burnt out. Then you don't want to play the game anymore. We've talked about this before. I'm going to talk about it again. 7 layers of why. Very, very, very important. We have all talked about this in recent past, re-identifying your why, getting back and re-identifying your why. Why are you a part of the Happy Club? Don't put it in the comments. This is for you. Why are you a part of the Happy Club? Dig again. Dig again. Dig deeper. Dig to the deepest level of that why, of why you are here. It really is. It's when you go even 3 or 4 layers deep, you're going to start to get uncomfortable and be like, whoa, I'm talking about some stuff that like, I wouldn't share this with anyone. Like, okay, you get to 7 and it's like God complex, like the beams are shooting out of your head. You're like a divine consciousness. You're like, whoa, did I just find a new like level? Like, where am I? Once you get there, then you can talk about how you move forward. Now, again, we talked about what could you do every day for the rest of your life. He does talk about going in a blitz. And I'm going to talk about that, a 60 to 90 day blitz. But what he says is very important after that blitz. So say you wanted to go on a blitz right now. Say you wanted to get started. Say you wanted to go into 2023 at an all-out sprint. You didn't want to, like, you're like, you know what? I excuses be darned. I'm going hard. I'm going hard up until this January 7th event. I was talking to Melissa P today. She said, my only goal between now and January 7th is to get as many brand new people in this company as I can to see what we are bringing to the table at that event. The most important thing about a blitz, though, is to recognize that it is not, that is not part of your consistency journey. A blitz is called a blitz for a reason. It's all out in a burst of energy for a moment, for a reason. When that blitz is done, you have to immediately scale back to the consistent, to that which you can do every day. The mistake a lot of people make is they go into a blitz and then they check out for a season. And this is where we get into the power of consistency. Could you do what you do every day for the next 50 years? Now, some of you are going, no, because I do not want to live this life I'm living every day for the next 50 years. I don't want to be working as hard as I'm working every day for the next 50 years. I don't want to be doing all. That's good. You don't want to feel that. What I want to ask you is, what are you willing to do to make sure that your 2023 does not look exactly like your 2022? I've lived a couple of those years in the past. There are younger years in my life. I've lived some of those where, shoot, you could have come into my life throughout a 4-year period and you wouldn't know. Every year felt the exact same, looked the exact same, no growth, no nothing. I'm sure we've all felt those years before in our lives. We're just like, what am I doing? Like, man, I'm kind of just like, this is just like Groundhog's Day. Like, what's going on here? Like, wake up. What's happening? The power of consistency. He gave an amazing analogy. Sorry. You got a lot of kids in the house and you hear a weird scream followed by silence. I have to make sure no one's choking, dying, hurt, falling. I'm like, if I run out of this frame at any given point, just know that I am in the pursuit of either whooping a child or saving a child. Those are the only two ways that you will see me dart out of here like Superman. And so, yeah, that's just a quick, one or the other. Back to the power of consistency. He talks a little bit about two planes. If two planes, and a lot of you guys have this mentality, and you need to kind of, this hopefully will open your eyes a little bit. But let's say that two planes take off from California and they're both heading towards New York City. That is their final destination. But one plane has to stop at every airport in between California and New York City, and the other gets to fly directly there. Obviously, the plane that flies directly there is going to beat the plane that has to stop at every airport, even if the one that has to stop at every airport is going 600 miles an hour and the plane that's going consistently is going slow 150. You cannot take off and land and take off and land and take off and land and take off and land. Erica, we're not playing games. I'm not getting hit by any more lightning. You guys, that's a story for another day. You guys, for down in Mexico, I was hit by lightning on my way back from Mexico on a plane. It was a crazy experience. I'll share it on another Zoom. All that to say is two planes. Think about that. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Think about that for real. Think about that in your business. How many times have you jump-started your business and then something's got in the way and you had to pull back? Then a new product came out and you decided to jump-start again, get back in and start running. But then life got in the way a little bit and you fizzled off. And then a new promotion came out and you're like, oh, okay, let's roll, let's go, baby. $1 joining fee or free shipping or whatever. This is my time. I'm going to go run. And you get a little bit of something going and then you're like, oh, you know what? That's shiny penny, shiny penny. How often can you see yourself as that pilot that's stopping at every airport on the way to JFK? How often can you see that? Please give me 1 second here as I'm do what I just talked about. All right, well, when this one just comes in and says he just has to give me a hug, that is worthy of stopping any call. And I will give you, do you want to say hi to everyone? Say hi to everyone real fast. This is Shane. He's the best in the whole world. He's my favorite. Don't tell anyone. They all saw it. They didn't hear it. They're not going to tell anyone. Get out of here. Let me finish this call. I'm almost done. I love you more than anything in the whole world. God bless you. I was worried for a second as well. And then he just walked over, just shrugged over and said, I just want to give you a hug, tell you I love you. I said, oh, that's, just the cutest thing in the whole world. And so he got a bunch of clothes recently. And as you can tell, we're wearing some matching flannels. He thinks it's very, very, very cool that we got all kinds of matching clothes, me and him now. But back to the wrapping up of that, this amazing chapter. Talking about the two planes. It's great to really think about that on a regular basis, that it is, again, not about the speed in which you are going if there is a consistent start and stop. It is not about the speed. It doesn't matter how fast you're going if you're consistently starting and stopping. Doesn't matter. He talks about this pump well analogy, which I love. How many of you put a 5 in the comments if you remember the old school pump wells? Old school, you had to sit and pump and pump and pump and pump and pump till water came out of there. All right, I got a handful of either farmers or some people that have lived by a farm out there. But all right, so pump wells. If you can imagine a pump well, you're pumping and pumping. It's a little spout that comes out eventually. But to the untrained eye, to the untrained person, you could pump on that thing for a while. A lot of people that are uneducated, that don't know, will stop pumping and think it's not working. They'll go, gosh, just up and down, 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 up and down for minutes. They're like, what is happening? This stupid thing's broken. And then all of a sudden, for those that stay consistent, just a little bit of water will sprick it out, just a little bit. And again, to the uneducated person, they will go, this stupid thing, that's all? I did all of that for that? But if you keep going and you keep moving and you keep going and you keep moving and you keep pushing that water up the line, eventually you will have a steady faucet-like flow of water coming out of that. Prime it. From there, it only takes a very steady, consistent push to keep that water flowing very regularly. But if you stop, what will the water do? It'll just start to go right back down. And you're going to have to do that same aggressive push to get it back up again. Ladies and gentlemen, I really want you to think of your lives in the closing of this chapter like the bamboo tree. We've all heard that analogy before. Pretty sure what it is. What is it? The bamboo tree, once planted underground, I believe it's 3 years. Is that right? 3 years? 5 years? There you go, Erica. Thank you. Erica will always fact check me. 5 years that thing is underground and it needs to be watered and tended to without a single sprout popping up. 5 years. And then in 6 weeks, that thing shoots 80 feet up in the air. Think of yourself as a bamboo tree. It is not that you are being held back. It is that you are being watered. You are being prepared for enormous growth. But in order to have that growth, you have to be ready for it. Momentum does not come to those who are not in motion. So as we recap this chapter and we finish this, we got 1 more week to go with 2 more chapters I'm going to cover next week. But as we recap week 4, or chapter 4, pardon me, momentum, the big mo. We talked about the merry-go-round analogy. Again, I just love that analogy so much because it constantly makes me think of a hater running up and getting smacked by one of those metal beams in the face and getting thrown like 10 feet back. That's why I love it the most, I think, honestly, is because the picture I get in my head of like someone being like, hey, dummies, you're doing one of those MLM things. And like, bam, they're just like thrown back. And it's just like, yeah, see you, sucker. That's kind of my favorite part of that analogy. But again, we talked about building up to momentum, making new choices, putting those choices to work, repeating those new habits, building routines, or pardon me, building routines and rhythms, and then staying consistent, number 5. We talked about how the iPod wasn't successful overnight, how without them being consistent, without them moving forward, we wouldn't have this right now. If they would have looked at a couple of years of bad results, they would have said, you know what? I guess this wasn't the right move. But they stayed consistent, they moved forward, and now look what we have in our hands. Routine is something that you do every day, and you need to find a way to incorporate the happy code, even if it's a little piece, into your daily routine. He talked about bookending your days, which is probably one of my favorite parts of this whole chapter. You cannot control what happens in your day, but you can always control how your day starts and how it ends. The world responds very differently to you when you start your day with a feeling of gratitude for which you already have. Sentimental love letter. I just love that. Keep that in your head. Send a bunch of them. Identify 1 to 3 MVPs, most valuable priorities that you can accomplish throughout each and every given day. Cash out at the end of every day. Make sure that you have a good record of your daily priorities, of the things that you look to get through in your day. What do you need to push for tomorrow? What can you check off the list today? Make sure you've got an even accounting to move into tomorrow. The rhythms of life. What can you do for the rest of your life? Blitzes are awesome. Consistency is key. It's not about being the tortoise, or it's not about being the hare. It's about being the tortoise. Be the one that no matter what comes your way, you're getting to the finish line. Consistent, but you're getting there. A lot of great analogies in this chapter. With that being said, I hope that each and every one of you is taking massive advantage of our amazing Black Friday bundles this week. If you didn't see in your daily dose of happy, I launched them. If you didn't see the emails, I'll be the one to tell you we got 2 crazy, amazing deals going on right now. Number 1 is if you spend $100 in product, you get a free shake. It's like $100 value on that shake. A bunch of people saying they already got their socks. And so that's any order over $100 all week long. Let everyone know in your team. Number 2 is we had an amazing bundle with some incredible products. Those socks, which I know everyone's seeing out there, those amazing socks, those Happy Coast smiley face socks. I'm sure there's probably not much of those left. I'm getting a report first thing in the morning, but from what I've heard and what I've seen, I doubt that there's going to be much of those Happy Coast socks left to go around. And like I said, I'm probably going to be holding a competition for the best risky business reel video with your Happy face socks sliding into the room. And I'm probably gonna have to give something away. I don't know what it's gonna be, free product or money. I don't know. You guys are gonna tell me what you want, but everyone that's getting one of those, is gonna be in a contest, and we're doing that reel. I'm just telling you right now, we're doing it. But I am gonna be going live for What's Up Weekly. I know it's the day before Thanksgiving. But there is another little steal and deal that I want to let you know about. So make sure that you show up on What's Up Weekly this week. I am not going to do a diamond call, but I am going to do a What's Up Weekly. And so super excited about seeing you guys on Wednesday, so I can let you know about some other fun things that you can be a part of. And yeah, it's going to be great. Until then, as always, it's Thanksgiving week, y'all. I hope that you have such a blessed week. I hope you know how thankful I am for each and every one of you, truly and sincerely, every single day. I don't need a day like Thursday. It's a great reminder, but I'm grateful for you all. I am so thankful for you all every single day. It is such an honor to be on this side and to represent you. And I am very, very excited about the season that we are entering into together. With that being said, I wish you nothing but abundance. As always, blessings. And look forward to seeing you on Wednesday's call. Until then, stay safe. Love you all. Bye for now.